What is up, guys? I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're covering some more r/am I the butthole. If you're new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe and maybe that notification bell too. And just a huge thank you for each and every one of you for being here today. It really does mean the world to me. And with that being said, let's just jump straight in to today's stories. Much love, guys. Our first story comes from Chronically Drawing. Am I the arsehole for bringing up a report against my guidance counsellor and getting her taken out of the running for an award, plus potentially hurting her career? This story starts a few years back, but the events I feel I might be an arsehole for happened this past week. So, short backstory, I'm chronically ill and I used to be out sick from school for months at a time. I was in the middle of school the first time I was out of school for a long period of time. It started out really hard to get the proper documentation for my absences and then for an extended medical leave. AKA, I needed to be tutored from home because I couldn't physically come to school. Eventually I got a doctor who was extremely helpful and had continued contact with the school. The issue of truancy that popped up because of the time between my first absence and my first tutoring session was dropped, and it seemed like everything was going smoothly. However, when I started feeling better, I had to slowly transition back to school. On my first day back, I was supposed to go to 3 classes, then meet with my guidance counsellor to discuss how I was feeling. While I was walking to my second period class and talking to friends that I hadn't seen in a while, my guidance counsellor pulled me away from them and told me, these are the exact words, quoted from the report we made years ago: "If you're absent one more day and cause another ounce of work for me, I'll raise truancy charges against your family and have you taken away from your mother." We later reported her to the principal. They didn't care, she's still employed. Here's where I think I'm a bit of an arsehole. 4 years later, I'm in my new counsellor's office talking about my college application process. My new counsellor tells me that my old counsellor is being highly considered for most loved staff member. I kinda chuckled at the news and told my current counsellor about what happened and the report my family made. Apparently this caused some discussion about the old counsellor. She is no longer being considered for the award, and now from what the school has told my family privately, the matter is being reopened and looked into. Something about her having multiple complaints. I feel pretty guilty and like a bit of an arsehole because it happened so long ago. It's not exactly a good thing to potentially ruin someone's career. Am I the arsehole? Hell no, you're not the arsehole. She said those things, she deserves everything she gets. Oh, I can't believe that. And let's face it, she's had multiple complaints since, so she's still using this kind of behaviour against people, so no, not the arsehole at all, and she deserves everything she gets. Carry on piling that in there. Wow. Let's have a look at the comments below to see what they say. Seventh Sparrow says, not the arsehole, you didn't ruin her career, her lack of empathy did. She shouldn't be a counsellor, and she has more than one complaint, so it's not on you. I've eaten enough crow in my life, I have little sympathy for others who need to have their share, you know. I'm not sure what that last sentence means. Peachy Nola says, not the arsehole, she was so wrong to have said that to you. Plus you said there were other reports too. You shouldn't feel guilty for her being a shit person and finally catching up to her. OP replies to saying, you aren't wrong, at the time it really hurt and scared me. I didn't trust counsellors or therapists for over a year after that experience. I've mostly moved past it now, I just felt bad about it since it's been so long since it happened, and I don't really think about her anymore. You know, there's been complaints since, so she's still doing it to other people, so you're helping those people out. Howard Project says, not the arsehole, multiple complaints means she's still doing this and getting away with it until a student who had a legit medical problem and his college ban wasn't easily ignored now that complaints are piling up. Open Yogurt says, not the arsehole, she told a chronically ill child that if they continued to be ill and therefore forced her to do her effing job, she would get them taken away from their mother. She's the arsehole along with whoever didn't fire her reprehensible ass years ago after the initial report. Now, what do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 1. And our next story is from Peace Complete. Am I the arsehole for not getting rid of my dog, which according to my roommate's dog trainer is the same as forcing my disabled roommate to move out? My roommate's doctor recently suggested she get a service dog for the disability she is developing. My roommate Mary started working with an organisation where they teach you how to train your own service dog at home because it's way more affordable. Her dog isn't doing so good at the training. The trainer, Marlowe, Mary was paired with, believes it's because he's getting bad habits from being around my dog. I will readily admit my dog isn't the best trained dog. He has some behavioural issues from his previous owners and often distracts Mary's dog by trying to play. I've tried doing proper training with him before and it did help some. but he really only listens when it comes to not bothering other dogs when I'm right next to him to tell him to stop, which isn't always possible because he likes to roam. What we've been doing so far is keeping my dog locked up in my room while they're doing their lesson. It usually only takes an hour, which is about how much time he can handle being locked up in there. At first, Marlo and Mary wanted me to keep my dog locked up in my room all the time because Mary's dog needs to have full access everywhere to be effective and mine doesn't. They wouldn't let it go after I said no multiple times, so I did end up raising my voice to make it clear that I wouldn't be doing that because it was cruel since my room is so small. If my dog doesn't have space to roam around, he gets stressed and will get destructive. I've been taking him on extra long runs to get some more energy out to help with that issue, but that only helps so much, and he's happier when he can do his rounds unimpeded. Marlo then came up to me privately and said that maybe it would be better if I rehome my dog, because it's even crueler to stand in the way of Mary's dog from being properly trained when she's going to have to rely on him so much. With his behavioural issues though, it would be so hard to find him a decent home. There's the fact that I love him and I don't want to give up my dog. Here's the main reason I went and bought my place, since most of the apartment rentals in my area don't allow pets. I told Marlo that wouldn't be happening, and that if Mary's dog needed a distraction-free environment, Mary should consider moving and I would let her out of her lease early. He then said that was why Mary was too afraid to talk to me about it herself, because I got so angry when they just asked me to keep my dog in my room. He says they thought I would retaliate if she pushed the issue, and I'm just doing that by kicking out a disabled person, when according to him our town doesn't have many affordable options for handicap accessible housing with the amenities she needs. I told him I wasn't kicking her out and that she could stay if she wanted to, but I'm not going to get rid of my dog or keep him in a stressful position all the time. He said that's just semantics and I'm still forcing her out. Now, I do feel sorry for Mary in this situation. Obviously she needs this dog for future, but at the same time, the landlord has had a pet before anyone, so I think that just trumps everything, right? And in some ways, this Marlo, this so-called trainer, is trying to blackmail OP to getting rid of her dog. How heartless is that? Just saying, like, you need to get rid of your dog. Mary needs hers more than you need yours. It's like, if someone told me that, I'd say, get the fuck out. I wouldn't be happy with that at all. And I do feel sorry for Mary, and I hope she does get what she needs in the end. But you know, you can't ask a landlord to get rid of their pet so yours can replace it, kind of thing, you know. No, not the arsehole in my opinion. But let's have a look at the comments below to see what they say. RNS1113 says, oof, not the arsehole at all. A service dog shouldn't be distracted by other dogs. How are they supposed to work if they are? Also, it's incredibly bad of Marlo, a dog trainer who presumably cares about the well-being of dogs, to suggest putting your dog in a room all the time. Also incredibly unprofessional for him to approach you about rehoming your dog. Carol of the Bell says, not the arsehole, your roommate should be careful. A lot of these training adoption programs are scams. Nut Michelle says, not the arsehole, your dog lived there first, he's pulling rank. Mary can take her dog and move out, period. Riri202 says, not the arsehole, she's living in your home and trying to emotionally blackmail into getting rid of your dog. Wow, I cannot believe the cheek of some people. Her and her trainer are absolutely outrageous. I cannot get over their attempts to force you into locking up your own dog in a confined space for long periods, and then attempting to force you to rehome him. It's your damn home. I think it's best to cut ties with his housemate ASAP and end her lease. She and her trainer have already shown they don't respect you or your home, and that they're willing to act very out of line. I'd also make sure your dog had a microchip or GPS collar in case something happens to him. Unlocked Link says, not the arsehole, you're a living landlord with a pet. Your home was suitable for Mary when she moved in. If she now needs a service dog and by extension a home with no other pets, then your home is no longer a suitable place for her to live. You're not forcing her out. Her needs and circumstances have changed. You're under no obligation to adjust to her circumstances if it would impose an undue burden. You've tried what you can, aside from additional training, but even if you do that and she isn't happy, that's her circumstance, not yours. And you are not responsible for the fact that your area has limited low-cost housing. Now, let me turn it to you guys. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 2. And our next story is from Turbulent Flower 971. Am I the arsehole for not wanting to work with disabled children? So after graduating from college up until last summer, I worked as an applied behaviour analysis technician. For those that don't know, that basically means I did therapy with children who have autism. It was an incredibly stressful job and I didn't really enjoy it. I worked for a bad agency who only cares about profits. They'd constantly forget to pay me on time, I worked 7 days a week with no breaks or benefits, property damage from clients, Also dealt with getting hurt on multiple occasions and trips to urgent care. Caseworkers would lie to me and say that the client wasn't aggressive just so they would find someone to put on the case. Not to mention I got almost no support or help from management and dealt with irresponsible parents constantly. The whole job was just one huge liability. I was so stressed out it was actually affecting my physical health in my last couple of months on the job. I was diagnosed with atrial fibrillation, which worsens as I'm stressed out. At my last job, this was constantly. In June 2019, I left to work a non-profit. I love working there, however the grant that was paying me is coming to an end in December and no one knows if it's going to be renewed, and a lot of us are beginning to look for other jobs. One co-worker in particular began asking me if I'd go back to working with children with autism because she knew of agencies that were hiring, and I said no, a little too quickly. I explained my bad experience at my last agency, that I'm just not a good fit for that job, and particularly working with children with unpredictable, aggressive and challenging behaviours. Added with my heart condition, it just won't work out. I prefer a job working in an office. She immediately got defensive saying, "So you think you're too good to work with someone who has a disability?" That's not what I said, I'm just not a good fit. She then says, "And you think all people with autism are aggressive and unpredictable? My daughter has autism and would never hurt anyone. How dare you say something like that, just generalising?" I said, "That's not what I meant. It's just the job is very challenging and in my opinion, not worth the inconsistent pay or lack of benefits. I'm not trying to offend you." She said, "Whatever, you've said enough. I feel sorry for the kids you've worked with." Am I the arsehole? You know, there's nothing wrong with admitting you're not fit for a job or the job is just not for you. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Just as much as on the other side, the kids deserve the best care they can get. And if you're admitting that you can't supply that for whatever reason, then that's absolutely fine, you know. And I'm not saying this person was bad at their job or whatever, but they're saying that they're not fit for the job themselves, which is absolutely fine. I personally don't think I'd be very good at that job. So, you know, there's nothing wrong with admitting that. And for someone to come at me being all standoffish like this person was to OP, I think I'd be pissed off too, and I'd be saying a lot more back to them than OP did. So yeah, I can't say you're the arsehole in this. I think fair play to you. You need to do what you need to do in life, and you know, yeah, just fair play to you. But let's have a look at the comments below to see what they say. The bloody lioness says, "Not the arsehole, wouldn't put any more thought into it. The judging co-worker seems like she has some things she should work out with someone, but that's not on you." The face of awkward says, "Not the arsehole, that's performative nonsense. Those kids deserve the best care they can get, and if you're not the right person for the job, you're not the right person for the job. I will say that not every agency is necessarily like the one you worked with, but I get needing a less chaotic environment." Sticky Finger says, "Not the arsehole. Anyone who has to work with kids far enough along on a disability spectrum to need that kind of care knows how stressful it can be. That's not to say everyone with these kinds of problems is aggressive or violent, but some people are. You know you can't handle it emotionally or physically. You've made a choice that's not only right for you, it's right for the kids who are assigned to you, who need help you know you're not capable of giving them." Now I turn it to you guys. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 3. And this story is from The Spiciest Bagel. Am I the arsehole for telling my brother I met his new girlfriend at an AA meeting? My brother started dating this new girl, and I realised I recognised her from AA. I'm not an addict, but my lawyer recommended I attend some AA meetings to help strengthen an ongoing case against me. I know it's her because I remember her very unique name from the AA meeting. She also talked for a very long time. I thought it was important to mention to my brother because I'm worried about her as a partner to him. In AA, she mentioned not only did she use hard drugs, but also she feels like she can't control herself. She also admitted to drugs making her verbally aggressive and unstable emotionally, and at the time, Sue was not sober. I know my brother, and I know that he holds himself and his partners to a high standard, and that he hates drama in his relationship. I told him what she said, and he broke up with her, and she basically stalked me and called me an untrustworthy bitch who ruined her experience with AA. Honestly, I was thinking I was just trying to help my brother out, but some of my friends think it was messed up for me to tell him. But I think it's better for him to know what kind of person she is ahead of time. Am I the arsehole? Edit to clear some things up because people are assuming a lot. I'm fighting my case because I believe the legal system is corrupt, but I want to be accountable in other ways. I don't regularly drink and drive. I don't even drink at all. The night was the worst night of my life, and I would take it all back in a heartbeat. All I'm asking is opinions on how I should have handled the situation with this girl, not to talk about whether or not I deserve to rot in jail because of my DUI. I do not condone drinking and driving and think it's a very serious crime, and I understand the gravity of my actions. I am right in saying that. AA stands for Alcoholics Anonymous, right? Anonymous. Come on, man. And then you just went and done that. I know it's your brother, but the whole point of those meetings is meant to be anonymous for the person. That person's trying to better their life. They're trying to help themselves, and you just shit on it by telling your brother and he split up with her immediately. How can you think that's fair? And the fact that you're just there to try and help your DUI case, and then you potentially fuck someone else's life up at the same time. Well done to you. You are the arsehole in this situation, in my opinion. But let's have a look at the comments below to see what they say. Cerebral Assassin says, you're the arsehole. Did you forget the second A stands for anonymous? Most go to these things to get help and not to try and make a fake showing for court because they can't get a DD. JF56 says, you're the arsehole. You're a gigantic arsehole. Do you know the definition of the word anonymous? It is completely wrong to reveal anything people talked about in those meetings. That is their safe space and you just violated it. Miss Jean Urso says, you're the arsehole. The AA anonymity rule is fucking sacrosanct. How dare you violate the trust of people trying to get their life together? You absolutely disgust me. Cara Solis says, you're the arsehole. You expect us to not hold a DUI over your head, and you went and did exactly that to somebody else. Nothing like holding somebody's past mistakes over the head when they're trying to get help. Koala Queen 87 says, you're the arsehole. What you see here, what you hear there, let it stay there. You broke a cardinal rule, buddy. And now I'm going to turn it to you guys. I think I know where this one's going to go. But I'd like to know your opinions in the comments below. And don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 4. And our next story is from Sluggish32. Am I the arsehole for telling my condescending SIL that being a stay-at-home mum isn't a job? I, 28 female, attend dinner with my family every Sunday night. At this weekly dinner there's usually my parents, siblings, their spouses and all the kids. The situation only pertains to my brother, who I call Derek, and my SAL, Gia. My brother 25 and his wife 24. Just had their first kid at the beginning of the year. They've been married for about 2 years. Every time we've seen Derek and Gia this year, they spend the whole time ranting and raving about how great parenthood is, and my brother always goes on the longest tangent about how Gia is such a good mother, and he's so thankful she's willing to stay at home with a baby. She's so good at her job, blah blah blah. Our baby is so smart he rolls over, he can do sign language, blah blah. I'm over all the bragging, have been for months. 2 Sundays ago we met for dinner as usual. My husband and I were sharing with a family that we think we're done having kids. We have 3. My husband says our house is always a mess. We spend our off hours from work running the kids to their extracurriculars, and if there's time left we're cleaning or cooking. Gia says, you've got to learn how to manage your time more wisely. I make sure the house is clean and dinner is on the table every day before Derek gets home. Well, must be nice. First of all, you only have 1 kid. You have all the time in the world to manage. We have 40 to 45 hours a week, so at this point my husband is annoyed and I'm ready to leave. Gia continues her rant by saying she takes pride in being a domestic engineer and she thinks it's very important that Derek comes home to a clean home and a put together wife. She also says she doesn't nitpick or nag because that's not what a good wife does. She's just happy to be alive. Did I mention her only personality trait is being a wife and a mother? Long story short, I lost it. To be exact, I said, well, if I had the privilege of sitting on my arse all day, I'd be happy and put together too. We actually work and live in the real world. We can't play house all week, and you only have 1 fucking kid. My brother refused to come back to family dinners unless I apologise to his wife for cursing at her, and recognise that being a stay-at-home mum is a real job. They always want to take away my role as godmother. My husband thinks I should apologise too. I'm just so tired of stay-at-home mums thinking they're better mums because they actually have time to clean their homes and spend time with their kids. I have a damn job. I can't sit at home and sleep while my kids shoved in front of the TV watching Coco Melon. Honestly, it felt good to knock the smug looks off their faces. But now my brother is saying I made his wife's postpartum depression worse. Am I the arsehole for telling my smug sister-in-law that being a stay-at-home mum is not a job? Now, every couple of days or every 3 days, we always get like a stay-at-home am I the arsehole post. It's just part of the course, you know. And you guys must know my opinions on stay-at-home mums at the minute. I think it is a job, it's a valid job, it's hard work. So yes, I don't downplay that. And I know I get comments all the time that say, oh, it isn't a job, blah, blah, blah. And that's your opinion. And we will always disagree on that, I'm afraid. But everyone sucks in this story. just because, you know, the way Gia talks about it, talking about someone else's life, you've got to learn how to manage your time more wisely. Every family is different. They manage their time differently and all that kind of stuff. It's bad of her to compare her family to hers and think she's got it all worked out. She's young. Someday that's going to smack around the side of her head. But at the same time, your comment of saying being a stay-at-home mum isn't a job, you're the arsehole for that. So everyone sucks here in this story to me. So let's have a look at the comments below to see what they say. Servant of Anuba says, everyone sucks here. Stay-at-home mum is a job. You should know that taking care of the baby, cleaning, cooking, etc. take time and effort to do. Just because she isn't paid doesn't mean she sits on her ass all day. She shouldn't complain about your situation because both of you chose to work and take care of the kids/chores. However, you're wrong to think she does nothing all day. YMMV says, everyone sucks here. Can someone finally put a stop to the mummy wars? Being a stay-at-home parent is a job. Being a parent who works outside the home is a job. The both of you should learn how to communicate without being smug. Gia, and defensive, you, or hostile, you. There was no need to curse at Gia or her child. Do you teach your kids to escalate a fight when they're mad, or do you teach them to walk away before things get out of hand? You should apologise. AB828 says, everyone sucks here. Being a stay-at-home mum is valid and hard work. Working out the house is valid and hard work. It's not a competition as to who has it worse or easier. Your house is a mess, who cares? Her house is not a mess, who cares? You and your sister-in-law both sound insufferable. Now, what do you guys think of that story? Are you going to disagree with me again? I don't mind. Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 5. Once again, guys, thank you for being here today. You know you're always truly appreciated around here. Well, I hope you do know. And I hope you have a fantastic day ahead of you. Enjoy it, make the most of it, treat yourself to something nice from me. And I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.